Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new webinar to introduce you to some quick concept that we use when we start a web design project. But we're going to wait for a few minutes so that everyone will take some time to connect. So I hope you guys had a nice morning. Let me know as well where you come from in the chat box so that we can communicate a little bit with you. I know that we had a lot of registration for this topic, and I think this is a very, very interesting topic that we try to as well promote in Odoo APAC, because we have a lot of ongoing projects that are using the website, and website is one of the apps that we're trying to make it evolve version after version. So that's very good. Hello from Philippines. Hello, guys. So yeah, Hong Kong as well. So we are located in Hong Kong as well. Yeah. Did you have a nice morning?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah? Okay.
I have a full breakfast.
Oh, wow. Why did you have for breakfast?
Prepare for this webinar today.
Okay. All right. We have Spain, business in Thailand. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Sri Lanka as well. Hello, guys. Okay, let's wait a tiny bit and then we have to start because this session is very, very intense as well. So you will see we'll have quite some good video made by Elena to really explain you in depth what she's doing when she started a web design project, because she's the expert, I'm not. Hello from Taiwan as well, Indo. Okay, guys, maybe let's start. So again, welcome to this new webinar for the web design service that we have in Hong Kong. So today, as I said, we're going to talk about the sitemap and the wireframe. And don't worry, if you're not familiar with those two words or those two concepts, that's where we're actually going to help you. We're going to support you go through those two different steps. So welcome. My name is Jessica. I'm the web design expert at Odoo APAC, and today I have the immense pleasure to be co-hosting this webinar with Elena.
Yeah, I'm Helena from Odoo web design team. Nice to meet you guys here.
Yeah, hello. So first, when it comes to a website as well, I would like you to picture yourself at the entrance of this maze, okay? And then think about your visitors, your website visitors, when they are at the entrance of this maze. And what if they can find like the right menu? What if they can find what your website is trying to achieve? Then they're gonna get lost, they're gonna get frustrated. And the maze can also represent the challenge that the designer face when they try to craft the user experience of your website. Okay, and those are the most frequent issues when it comes to website structures. So like I said, the first one is the lack of a clear navigation. Your website has a business goal. What if your website is not transparent enough in communicating the business goal and the navigation doesn't really express or represent what you're trying to achieve? And then poor page hierarchy. It's hard to navigate into websites. Sometimes we have small websites, but also bigger websites. So if your visitors are lost in a web of link, then they will get frustrated and they will leave. That's where we call it the bounce. And if you detect on your website a high bounce rate, that might be because of one of those issues. Disorganized content. We see too many times website and especially homepage that are too long and that promote too many, image block. We have the masonry, we have the carousel, we have the gallery. This is not sometimes useful. And think about like the content. If it is too disorganized, again, your visitors will get overwhelmed by this content and they will leave. And this expresses the very inefficient user journey because you probably didn't think or put your visitors into like the design process of your website, and you will miss business opportunities. Like I mentioned in the previous webinar, website is a business asset. It is part of your asset. So if you're trying to achieve something business, convert your visitors into customers, then that's what you need to act right now. You need to have a better website structure, and you probably need to solve all of those problems. So welcome to the digital maze. We call it normally a chaotic landscape, but that's where we like to work on with Elena and the design team here. We try to solve this maze and to help you better achieve your business goal. So that's the agenda for today. So I already guided you through the introduction and the case study. Then I'm gonna give you some explanation on the sitemap, but then that's where Elena will jump into the picture and show you exactly how she creates wonderful sitemap. And then the wireframe. So same process, I'll explain you what it is, and Elena will show you with a very, very detailed wireframe that she prepared just for you and just for this webinar. We'll finish with some tips and tricks, and as usual, the Q&A session. So please stay with us. It's going to be very interesting, I promise. So first off, the sitemap. So what is a sitemap? Sitemap can act as a blueprint, and it provides a visual representation of the structure and the hierarchy of your website application. It helps identify the pages and the hierarchy. If you have the home page and then you have another, let's say, category page, then you'll have subcategories and stuff like that. Okay, it helps also to organize the content in a more intuitive way so that you can have an intuitive navigation. Okay, and it helps mapping the user flows and all of the interaction. Elena will show you that. And what we like the most as well when doing sitemap, but also wireframe that we'll see later, is to collaborate with you. We co-create the website. We need your input. We need your feedback. Voila, I've said enough. I think right now Elena can show you how she does it. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you. So actually, site mapping is a powerful process for us to understand clients' need and the future layout of the website should be. So here, we already connect some ideas from our client, and then we are going to tidy up this idea into like what her website should construct with. So let's start with constructing her homepage. Like we can see there's different ideas, like for example, the promotion banner, some product categories, like of course you need to showcase your wonderful product in the homepage, and maybe some new arrival recommendation. Then I think this idea is also very suitable for homepage, and we can make it into a column and also give it a label name as homepage. In the same time, like just feel free, if you think about anything you think is necessary for the website flow, feel free to add some new idea in the homepage. In the sitemap is also one of the process you can brainstorm what you need in the page. So I will indicate this block that I add color so I can know, or I see the sitemap, I will know that what I should do. For terms and condition, I think maybe we can make it in a separate page. So let's make it into an individual column and name it as terms and condition. I think we can place it here. And then we can take a look on other idea that we are going to make it into different page. Like for example, I see some ideas is about the basic content of her business. For example, some story about her business, some contact information, or even like a form, maybe something that can send message to contact with the owner. Then I think maybe this time we can make it as a contact us page, so we can include all the information the visitor need to contact with the owner, and also he or she can has a interface, for example, form to contact with the business. So maybe in this case, I will also suggest to add a company logo to help the visitor identify with the company brand, and we can just put it a little bit lower. Cool. So we already do 3 page. So let's do the remaining is like, for example, some frequently update content. We can actually make use of block instead of creating page every time, because it usually is very complicated for us to build a functional block from 0 from for our website. But Odoo blog is actually very easy to integrate with Odoo website with only one click. So this time we are using Odoo blog for some native news that can update by client independently. And also the same way for e-commerce. We are also using Odoo e-commerce because it already presets a lot of feature that we can already make use with. And for the newsletter registration, how about let's just put it in the footer. And please don't forget when you make the sitemap, don't forget to construct with sitemap, your sitemap with footer and header, because they are the most common part that your visitor will going to look at. So just fill the footer with the content that you think is necessary for your visitor after they scroll to the bottom. For example, some navigation, newsletter, maybe the link to terms and condition. And also for the header is more important because like when they land on the page, the first thing they will see is the header. So maybe you will want to put the most important link in the header. Cool, so we already construct with all the idea we have. Now let's just don't forget, you will need to link all the page together. You don't need to really link every page with every link because you know that for footer and header it will be like a spider net. So just link everything you need is the main flow. For example, for e-commerce, for e-commerce, you can just like with the call to action button, or for the blog call to action, it will only link to the Odoo blog. So I think also we can put a label here to indicate which page is belong to which part and to help you recognize after you finish the sitemap. Okay, then I think it's probably we have done the sitemap.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like the way you present it. It's very clear, and at some point it really seems easy, but I know that it's not. So yeah, it also depends on the complexity of the website, I suppose. So yeah, you make it easy in the end. Thank you. So now that you guys understand what is the sitemap, let's jump to the wireframe. So the wireframe, in the other end, is the skeletal framework of your design. So we now have a clear view about what is the structure of the navigation part, but we still need to design the structure of the pages of your website. And this is not yet where we integrate the content. So we will not ask you, the image or the text or anything. We just draft the structure of your website, okay? So why the wireframe is very important, and that will help you. So first off, you can use different tools. You can sketch on different digital tools, but we also had some experience doing some workshop where you don't need digital tools as well. You can just as well use some papers and pen. Like we said, it's the wireframe can be used to translate the sitemap into the structure as well. Another thing that is very, very important is about the responsiveness of your website. And that's where having a wireframe is very crucial or critical. We know that we spend a lot of time using our other devices like mobile phones. So wireframe will help you to have a better idea of what can be the responsive version of your website. Okay, and then the wireframe will help incorporating UI elements and placeholders. You need to know where we're going to display the image, where we're going to display the text, how big should be the text compared to the image and stuff like that. And again, like I said, we like to have your input. So when Elena and other designers in Odoo, they are doing the wireframes, they always do a little bit of back and forth with you because we need, again, to have your input. You are the expert in your area, in your field. It's a collaborative process. So that's where we need your help, and we connect. And then, so Elena will show you how she does a very clear and interesting wireframe using Figma.
Okay, so thank you, Jessica, for introducing like the basic components about the wireframe. So now I'm going to like show you a video about like how we usually do with the wireframe. So let's create a wireframe according to the sitemap that we have done previously.
Yeah, we're just trying to put it full screen to show
you
to show it to you better. I have a little bit of a technical issue, but it's okay. It's gonna be solved very
Let's
very
make it into
quickly.
the full screen.
Yeah.
Where's my full screen?
Yeah, we just have technical issue, but voila, this is solved, and you can see this amazing video prepared by Elena when she does the wireframe.
Thank you, Jessica. So before I show you the video, I want to like just introduce you about the wireframe. So wireframe is actually a design draft that design like the basic layout, size, and structure for every component we are going to have in the future website. And our web designer actually use a variety of tools in the web design process. And this time we are using Figma, which is like one of the most powerful wireframing tool for designer to help us to build the wireframe. But don't worry, actually, as mentioned by Jessica, you can use whatever tool you like, paper and pen, or even like Microsoft Paint. You can just need to prepare yourself with a clear mind that what your website would want to be. So make sure you have your sitemap nearby, because we are going to convert your sitemap content into a text. Your sitemap content is text that we are going to convert into wireframe that is a more graphical way of your future website. So like this time, we are going to create header and footer first, because they are going to be used again and again in every page of your website. So, and also we are going to use the Odoo website builders assets library, because it provides a lot of options in the Odoo website builder that can make us to build the design that fits with feasible for the Odoo website builder. So like let's look at the header. Like for example, for the page navigation, we are going to make a page shop drop down. Then we can just add a drop down arrow. You can see that next to the drop down here to see that to show your visitor or the people that you're going to read your wireframe is that, okay, this is a drop-down item. And then don't forget to just rename all the link, and then after all, into the respective item. And also just put the shopping cart and wish list button here to show that this one is a button that will lead to the feature. So now we are going to make it into a Figma component that we can reuse it after, later. So now we can do the footer. Footer is actually very similar to header. We are also using one of the template footer from Odoo website builder, but we are going to do something creative. We are going to make sure that like it will fit with our sitemap content. For example, the company logo. I don't need the title, then why not replace it with the company logo? And maybe for the navigation down underneath, I don't want to make it in the vertical, then make it horizontal. It is all feasible in the Odoo website builder. Maybe for About Us, I wanted to fit it with my newsletter blog, so we can just rename it and then just adjust a little bit with the type text length. And don't be afraid to use some logarithm tests, fake tests, because like it is a wireframe, it's only a draft about your layout. So you can just fill with some fake information tests to see how the text occupying the space, and then you can fill it with actual information maybe later in the design stage. So same for the contact us block, we can just ensure that it fit with the correct social media button. And I think we almost did the footer. So this time I'm going to recolor this footer a little bit to make sure I remember in the design stage I will make it in the dark theme. So I will just recolor it a little bit to make sure, for example, logo maybe it need to be a white color, and to make my stroke or other component into a color, a grayscale, not color, that is fit with the dark theme. So I think I can make more styling to remind myself. Okay, great. So let's also rename this component and then save it as a Figma component. Why we need to make it in a Figma component is that, like, for example, if you create a 10 page about like header and footer, and then your client is telling you that maybe she want to add one more navigation, then you need to change 10 page one time again and again. If you create a component and copy its children to each page, when you make change to the main component, it will change automatically. So we are like foreseeing the what will happen in future, and we will try to like prepare it with some skills or experience that we have as a web designer. So we already create a page template that contains the header and footer, and let's start by creating the homepage. So we are going to use one of the page template we created with the header and footer, and let's take a look on what we have in the homepage. So we will have the banner, we will have the call to action. I think call to action can also be a button in the banner. And also, like, we are going to put some product categories in the homepage. So to make sure my visitor will know that, like, when they arrive to my website, they will see what kind of product I will show. So this one time, I will use the mastery block from Odoo website builder, and I will adjust it a little bit with creativity to make sure that my product category is not as broad as other website. Maybe it's just a list of tests. I will make it into different image, and then different image block with different size of rectangle, and then I will label them with my product category text. So let me adjust a little bit with this block. I want to make it longer so we can make use of Figma's auto layout to make it with different size. And let's rename this block a little bit. You see that I'm using different grayscale color to indicate that this block is different to another block. Or the grayscale background can also representing maybe there will be the image, but there is never strict rules for you to use the color background. The only thing you need to know is that, like, you remember what you are doing, and also, of course, the client see your wireframe will know that this gray color is representing maybe a background image. So I will also recolor it a little bit to indicate that this category will have a different image background. Then I think it is pretty much done. Just let me recolor it a little bit, and I want to make sure that I remember this image is not mixed with another image. Okay, I think it's great, and let's make another block. Let's see for the sitemap. I will show some beautiful product. So actually, it's quite difficult for a web designer or developer to take some content from the back end, product back end, and then showcase in the front end, because for developer it will include some back end strategy. But for Odoo website builder, just one click, drag out the product snippet out, and then you will automatically show all the products you have in the back end. Even more, you can also set up, for example, which category I want to show. For example, the first category maybe I want to show is the summer selection. The next category maybe I will show the best buyer, which is like totally feasible in Odoo website builder, and you can freely set which product you want to show in the homepage. And then for the blog call to action session, I will make it also a cover, but I will make it in a different design so that my visitor can distinguish between the landing hero banner and also the hero blog call to session. Then I will put some blog snippet here. They just work similarly to the product snippet that I mentioned, but they will show the latest blog content here. So I think it's pretty much for the homepage, and we created in such a minute. So let's go on and let's rename the page a little bit first, and then we can go on to the next page. Let's create the contact us page. So we can, in the same way, we can drag out a template first, and then rename it as the contact us page. This time for the contact us page, I will not do like boring things like just list out every test content by list. and I will make it into 2 big blocks so that my visitor, when landing, they will know that the one part is about the company, when another part is about filling a form. For the company logo, I think I will just copy this one and then paste it to the left block. And then I will also rename this title as my company name so that when the visitor land in this page, they will definitely know that, okay, this page is something about this business. And I will assume this text block as like the company story. So, but this layout, I think is a little bit, I can adjust it a little bit. So let's make it into the bottom and adjust the space so that my visitor can clearly see what is the most important thing we call the focal point in the website. And for the right hand side, I will make it a form. So actually for form, you don't need to ask your developer to make an input field, make everything. In Odoo Website Builder, just one drag, and then it will create a form for you. So, and then feel free to create some informative text or title because you always want to make sure that your visitor know where they are and what they are doing. For example, for this contact form, I will give them a title of "Let us hear your voice" to make sure that my client know that this form is something about inquiries. And also, I will add some tab here to make sure my visitor can switch from different form in the same space so that they can find different content in the same area, which is like in the same time can be done in the Odoo Website Builder. And add a background image there and looks great. I think it looks great. So let's do with the business contact information now. So for the business contact information, I will also make use with the mastery block just like we do for the product category. This time for the left side, I will make it into a big Google map. And then like so that my visitor can, when they scroll down, they will see that where is the location of my business. And also I will fill the remaining small block in the right hand side with different, for example, I will paste a company logo here, which is represented by an image logo here first. I will decide maybe put logo or image later. And then for another block, I will indicate some explanation title here. For example, this part I will put it as phone number. And then I will ensure the content I want my visitor to focus on will be the biggest inside this layout. And yeah, feel free to use some fake content. No need to make the actual content first because you just want to see a layout. And I'm going to put a logo here to ensure even my visitors scroll very fast, they will see there is a image logo here. I will represent it as a small circle here first, but I will design what logo I will use later in the design stage. So wireframing stage is actually very flexible for you. Just feel free to design what layout or what is the space the content should place in your future website. And then let me make a longer rectangle block to representing the email because the email content is longer. And then we still have information. We have the social media, and then maybe I think we will need to put the address, map address there. So I will firstly make a row of rectangle. And then I think let us imagine like if our visitors scroll through the website, they will see the map first. And after they see the map, I want them to see the text address of my business. Then you can design maybe this block should place beneath the map. So it's also one of the way you want to do when designing wireframe is put yourself into the visitor's shoes and then imagine what they do so that you can design a better layout that will fulfill their behavior, and also it will create a better user experience for your visitor. So for the 2 remaining blocks here, I will just put the social media content here because you see that like although we have the social media button in the footer, sometimes I will imagine when the visitor click into the Contact Us page, they will want to know more about my business. So I think this time we can place the social media name here so that they will see what is my, for example, what is my Facebook fan page name. And also, for example, this blog I think should be Instagram. Then maybe I will also add my Instagram link here for them to recognize my business better. So I will just rename it a little bit. And ta-da, that's it. That's it is for the contact us page. And then let's do the terms and condition page. So in the same way, we do the template page first to make sure we have the header and footer. And for terms and condition, we know that is always a tons of text. We get lost in the page because it's so many text content. So this time we are going to use something interesting. We are going to use the table of content block from Odoo website builder to help us building a more interactive and simple user flow for client to search within the terms and condition page. So of course, let's us build with the title first, because I want to make sure my visitor, when they land on this page, they will know that they are on the terms and condition page, which is like make them not confusing. And then adjust a little bit about the background. And I will also kind of adjust the background image to show that this may be an image later, but I will decide the image later. So here is the table of content block from Odoo website builder. You see there is two columns. The left column is the navigation button that will automatically create once you input some content in the right hand side when you're operating in Odoo website builder. But of course, we're building the wireframe, so feel free to create like the potential layouts you want first. And for example, we mentioned that is on online shopping and delivery. So let's do some sample tests in the right-hand side to make sure that it looks familiar when the client, when we are building the design draft. So, and then we have the heading here. I think the terms and conditions should look great after we add some design element. So now we are doing with the Odoo blog and Odoo e-commerce. As we mentioned, like blog and e-commerce is actually very complicated if you build a website from zero. But with Odoo, you can just install the blog and e-commerce by one click. And also Odoo has to do all the design research for you. So you can just use the default design from Odoo. And then, of course, we have different options for you to choose so that although you are like using the Odoo design, you still have your creativity to figure out the your favorite design. Like this time, for blogs and e-commerce, I will create different template first so that later on we can just input the Odoo interface in a second. So Odoo blog, but like we can also turn on and off some options. For example, for blog, maybe I just want to show the offer. Maybe for product, I just want to show the category. It's all visible in Odoo website builder. But this time, we will just show you the simple way to do so. Like even for the shop page, I can add a banner here to make sure that my visitor will know that maybe latest promotion. And then for the checkout page, maybe I will just put the checkout page here. And I think we have all created a very nice wireframe in such a short time, Jessica.
Yeah, it's very good actually. And yeah, you can tell that you use this tool and you do wireframe like kind of on a daily basis. So thank you, Elena. Thank you for this. Let us give you maybe some final tips and tricks when it comes to a sitemap and a wireframe as well. So first off, and that's what Elena tried to explain here, when building a website, you should always keep in mind a clear goal. You do not design a website the same way if it is for educational purpose or for e-commerce purpose. So keep in mind that, because in the end, this is what will lead the whole design process and will help take some decision, make some choice. The second one is that you have as well to prioritize the user experience. This is also something very important. You should always put yourself in the shoes of your visitor, and that's what Elena and other designers do. They think about, okay, what what is the target audience? What are they looking for when they land on this website? How do they behave? Where do they click? This is something that we analyze, and that's what Elena mentioned when she explained a little bit of design research, because we try to understand what is your industry, what is your business, but also what is your targeted audience. And the last one, we like it very much, simplicity and streamline. So simplicity, keep it simple, remove all complexity when it comes to the website. We see too often websites that would like to be complex, and we are trying to challenge that, because it's not with a very complex website that will bring you a lot of value. So sometimes you have to balance with simplicity and complexity. All right. So that's the end of this webinar. Stay with us. We still have the Q&A session, and you guys can still drop some question into the chat box. But as you can see here, we would like to discuss your website projects. So don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. You'll have the link to book an appointment with us, and we can discuss your website project, but maybe more your digital transformation project using Odoo. So thanks a lot, and then we can start the Q&A session. I'm just going to look at all the questions we might have. But maybe I can ask a quick question to Elena. What do you like the most being a designer?
I like the most for being a designer is like I see something that is not like do not have a shape, for example, some idea from a client, and then we help them to convert into like a sitemap, wireframe, something we can see. And even as an Odoo web designer, we convert the wireframe, the design, into something functionable and workable. And when my client comes back to me and say, hey, your website is like very functionable and it's like bring us quite a lot of flow, then I feel totally happy for them.
And also we use Odoo website builder, and I think this helps a lot as well to have beautiful, quick and easy website as well. Lisa is asking us a question. What tool do we use for wireframing? So I think we already explained that. We use Figma, but there are other tools that you guys can use. It's not only about Figma. This is what we use, and this is what Elena showed to you, but there are other tools that designers use normally.
Yeah, we can use some of the more common is the Adobe XD, and then we can also actually wireframing and site mapping is not limited to some software. It just like if you are prepared, you can even use it with like whiteboard or paper, as long as you know that what you are planning and then your structure for the website content.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about like creativity and visualization. That's what we are trying to explain here. It's about being visual and being structured when you start designing a website, basically. Another question that we have is, do we share the Figma files with our customers?
Actually, we will have give the access to our client for the Figma file in like using, for example, some feature of Figma comments, so that like we can communicate with our client real time on the spot they want to know, instead of like communicating in a long email and both of us are searching for the point that we need to be aware, and we can communicate on Figma real time, which can help us to speed up the whole process faster.
Yeah, exactly. And this is very, very time saving when you do that with the client as well. Another question from Ricardo. Does Odoo has already published a library of components?
I think it's a great idea. Like, although this library is like built from our design team for the design process, but I think maybe it would be a great idea, like if Odoo can have a published library, and every designer can use the Odoo library to build the Odoo website for a client. Sounds great. Yeah,
we can think about that. Thank you for bringing this to us. Another question: how do you get the Figma wireframe into Odoo website builder?
We create them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Figma, it's a different environment. Again, it helps visualize, and that's where we get along with. We co-create with you, with our customer. We have this structure. Think about an architect. We have the plan of what we are trying to build, and then we start building it in Odoo Website Builder, and that's what Elena mentioned. We already have like some Odoo blocks in Figma, so that we can it's easier for us to create the wireframe, and then it's even more easier than in the end to create to represent the wireframe into Odoo Website Builder. Then is that easy to handle multi-language design when using Figma or wireframe?
Actually, when we talk about multi-language, usually I don't think they will bring much different to the design layout, especially for the wireframe, because wireframe is just a layout to make sure how the space or the content should paste in the website. So, but for multi-language, actually Odoo Website Builder do have a very convenient tool on creating a different translation. So I think I think multi-language is not a big problem.
No, it's not a big problem. It's covered. Don't hesitate again to reach out to us if you have any idea in mind that we can discuss with you, something very particular. So yeah, multi-language, also the responsive. You can do responsive mock-up in Figma that can be translated then in Odoo Website Builder. That's something. But again, we will love to hear about your project. So feel free to reach out to us as well. I have one last question. How long does it normally takes for you to do wireframing?
It really depends on the project size. Because, for example, if for some small business they only need like 3 page or maybe home page, then maybe it can be done within few days. For example, 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
But if it is a very complex project like 10 to 20 page, then maybe a week is included. Also, another factor is that maybe it will depend on the client requirement. In the process of us to build the wireframing, we will also communicate with client to make sure that the wireframe and the design draft is fit with our client.
Very good. One last question. Why this is a webinar about Figma and not about Odoo website? And actually, that's a very, very good. Explain the first 2 steps of our web design. Next webinar that we'll announce very soon will be how to translate those Figma mockup in Odoo, and you will see that's where the magic happened. But we are just trying to be transparent with you guys, just explaining you how do we work and how do we handle a web design project at Odoo. And I think that's good to share with you and with our community as well. What do we use and how we use it? So stay tuned for the next webinar as well. We'll announce it very soon. And then you will see how we use Odoo Website Builder, but translating the wireframe that we did with different tools. One very last question, but I think we already mentioned that. How can we use Figma in Website Builder? There is no proper link. Again, it's about crafting a website. It's about creating mockups. Okay, so then we take those mockups and then we use Odoo Website Builder. We use drag and drop, or if it's a more complex website, that's where we're gonna design with developments or customization, stuff like that. Okay, so keep in mind that the tool that we use for wireframing is mostly to get the perfect vision of what we want to achieve with the website structure. It's about structuring the ID, and it's about having this mockup to then be able to translate it in Odoo. I think that's it for today. Thanks a lot for your participation. That was lovely to co-share this webinar with you. Thank you for your expertise again and for your hard work here at Odoo. And stay tuned for the next webinar that will be announced very soon. But this one will be about designing, and we'll take Helena's Figma's mockup to translate them into Odoo. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.